Good evening, and welcome to another Think About It Thursday. I'm Henry Dotson, and you are listening to me on our Journeys of Faith Life. So I'm glad that you decided to drop in and see what's going on here. So as you come online, you feel free to make any comments. You can enter comments on into it, and I'll see them. And if I get a chance, I'll respond to them. So today, this Thursday, Think About It Thursday. What we're talking about today is um, think about what you can intentionally do to embrace change in your life. What does that look like in your mind's eye? So, where we're coming from today is that this week we have been focusing on, this whole month we've been looking at the new normal. And this particular week, the focus has been that the new normal is what you're doing. Last week was the new normal is what you're doing now. And this week, what we are saying for our Monday mindset, we said that the new normal is always changing. So even if you are in a state where you recognize that you're in a new normal, that it's not going to last for long. You know, you're going to always be going through changes. The new normal is always changing. So we've been talking to mostly to people who have gone through a crisis in their life, and that crisis is over, and you are moving forward. And in moving forward, you have to realize that we are in a new normal, and that you don't have to wait for that normal to come about. You are in it now. And even in saying that even though you're in it now, that it still too is changing. So the idea is that we need to learn to embrace change. That's hard for a lot of people to do because probably as you went through your life crisis, you went through a whole lot of changes there too. In my case, when I went through my life crisis, which I went through a cancer journey, and I got a diagnosis, and less than 2 hours later, I was delirious on chemo. So my life changed dramatically in a matter of minutes. I mean, 120 minutes, a couple of hours, my life changed, and it changed forever. So when you're going through a crisis, yes, things can change dramatically, and they change quickly, and you're going through a lot of things at that time. But eventually, when you get out of that crisis, the change starts to slow down a bit, and you have a little more time to adjust. But realize that even saying that the change to what's normal is continuing to change. So you don't have to wait. You know, sometimes when I was going through my crisis, which lasted almost a good 2 years, it was 18 months, but then to finally get back to work, it was another 6 months. So it was a full 2 years as I was going through things. And every time through it, I was waiting for what things to get back to normal. I was just I wonder when things are going to get back to normal. And what I didn't realize at the time was whatever I was doing at the moment, that was my normal. Going to the doctors was normal. Taking chemo was normal. Everything that I was doing, that was my new normal. But I didn't see it as that. I was looking beyond that. And I was going to say, when I stop doing this, then things are going to get back to normal. And so when I got out of it, and things were different, but the normal that I got to wasn't the normal that I had before I went into the crisis. And so whatever that new normal was, that even changed as I got out of the crisis, because once I was out of it, I had to adjust to, okay, well, how are things going to go now? And even as I got used to some of the things that were happening, they were continually changing too. Physically, because my body was still recuperating from the active treatment that I had in my multiple myeloma bout. So I was always getting a little bit better, a little improving, a little here, a little there, able to do more things. And I got back to doing things that I used to do, but I didn't do them the same way. So even when things got back to normal, it was a new normal. And that normal continued to change. So you're in the same boat. If you have gone through a life crisis and now you're waiting for things to get back to normal, the normal that you came from isn't there anymore. And so you have to embrace the fact that this is your new normal, and even it is going to change. And so that's what we were focusing on, is that, this new normal is here, and it's going to change, and it keeps on changing. And our tip on Tuesday was a quote that we had that said, everything is in the process of becoming something else. And that's simply the law of change, that nothing stays the same. So you are always in a process of changing. Now, you may not notice it. It might not be perceptible to you, but change is happening all the time. And it's happening to you on many different areas of your life. It's happening to you physically. It's happening to you mentally. It's happening to you emotionally. And it's happening to you spiritually. So those are just the things that are happening to you as a person. But then your environment is changing. The way we do things has changed just because of COVID restrictions, and things have changed just in the world of politics. Things have changed in every aspect of your life. Things are changing. And so the mindset that we want you to have this week is that change is here and change is always happening. And the sooner that you are able to embrace the change, as soon as you're able to lean into change, then the easier it will be for you to adapt when the change happens. You won't get stuck thinking, boy, I want to go back to what I was doing before. Now, we may want to all do that, but you can't go back. So it's important that you recognize that, and that what you perceive as normal only lasts but for a season. So you're in a new season of life. And so whatever you're experiencing now, that's your normal for this season. But just as the seasons of the year change, so are the seasons of your life. And in every area of your life, you're in a different season. So you may have an area of your life is your work life. Well, that's changing. Your home life, that's changing, especially if you have children, because as they grow, the dynamics and what you do with them, that changes. You're married, well, your relationship with your spouse changes. If you are involved in any type of physical exercise, then your body's changing. Any area of your life, nothing is staying the same. So whatever you perceive as normal now, it's only going to last but for a season. And there's scripture that backs that up, that says that. If you look in the word, what you'll find in Ecclesiastes, it says, for everything there is a season and a time for every purpose under the sun. So when you think about it, that this season of life that you're in, that you're looking at this new normal, it is but a season. But more importantly, there's a purpose to this season. You're supposed to be doing something in this particular season of your life. So as you embrace change and you recognize that it's not going to stay the same, at the same time, you need to see, well, what should I be doing, and what is the purpose of me going through this particular season in my life? So those are the things that we want you to contemplate, is how do I embrace, how do I lean into this change that's happening? Think about, how can I intentionally, what can you intentionally do? Not just think about it, But at now you're thinking about it. But what you're trying to think about is, what will I do that will allow me to embrace that change? What action were you going to take? What action steps are you going to take that are going to allow you to embrace the change? Well, one of the things that you can do as you're figuring that out is you have to try to imagine, what does that change look like in your mind's eye? What does it look like for you to be embracing the change? So pick some area of your life that is changing and think about, what can I do to embrace that change? For example, if there is something new that you're going to have to learn or you're going to have to do, then instead of procrastinating and saying, I don't want to do that, and thinking about a lot of other things, what can you do to prepare for that change? Maybe you need to talk to some people about that. Maybe you should talk to people who've gone through the same thing you're about to go through. A lot of people in my age group, we're approaching the age where we're thinking about or already in retirement. So what does that look like? How do I embrace the change of retirement? If you say you're going to stop working, but what have you done to embrace that? Have you looked at what you need to do to prepare for it financially? What you need to prepare for it in terms of things that you're going to be doing when you're in retirement? Have you thought about the people that you're going to hang around? Because you're not going to be hanging around the people that work as much anymore. They're going to still be at work. What are you doing to find out what you're going to do when these changes come about? What does that look like? Does it mean, going to some class at a junior college? Does it mean hanging out with some different people? Does it mean talking to some other folks? These are the things that you should think about when you think about embracing change, that you can be prepared for it, be better prepared for it if you take action. And that's really what it's about, is when we raise that question, to think about how you can intentionally, or what you can intentionally do to embrace the change in your life. That's what we're really going for, is for you to stop, take some time, think about what you can do so that when that change comes, it's going to be a smoother transition. It's not going to be perfect. It's not going to be exactly as you thought it was going to be. It may not even be easy. But the sooner you embrace change, and as opposed to trying to hang on to what you've got that's not appropriate for where you're going, then the sooner you're going to be able to make that transition without as much trouble as could be. So as we think about this new normal, the idea is that the new normal is now. You don't have to wait for it. You're in the midst of it right now. And even in the midst of it, it too is going to change. So you are here, but for a season. And so while you're here, you should embrace the change. You should enjoy the season you're in, and you should live it to the fullest. Live it to the fullest. And as the changes come, look at it as a new adventure, a new opportunity, a new chance to learn something, a new chance to grow. Because when you change, you can either change to grow or you can change to die a little. So if you're going to change, my suggestion to you, and I would strongly encourage you to look to change to grow. Grow a little wiser, grow in your knowledge, grow in your relationships, grow spiritually, and most importantly, grow closer to God, because He's the one that's put you on this path, and He's put you in this season, and He's put you there for a reason. As the scripture said, that for every season, there's a purpose for every season, and God has put you here for that purpose. So think about these things as you deal with the changes that are happening in your life. So with that, I think we're coming to the close of our little Think About It Thursday. I would encourage you to think about it. And if you're interested in getting a copy of my book that I wrote about my cancer journey, you can do that online. You can go to the website that I have, Our Journeys of Faith Life. There's a click for there for going to books, and you can get a book there. If you just want to see what else we have going on there, feel free. And for now, I'm going to say good night, and we'll see you again next Thursday, where we'll have something else to think about along the lines of the new normal. Take care and God bless. See you soon.